Greetings, beautiful being. Welcome to today's little episode of Movement Medicine Morsels. It's a good day to shake and tap and move energy. And I think it always shifts everything in a nice way. So remember that any of the offerings in these little sessions exist on a spectrum. So you may find that you want to do a very subtle and delicate version of what's being suggested, or what your body and whole being might be asking for is a vigorous rendition, and anything in between, anything on the spectrum. It's like turning the volume dial very subtle to full blast, and everything in between, but really looking for where it's that perfect fit for you in the moment that you're playing with the material. So let's start by acknowledging whatever it is that we're coming to this episode with. Maybe you've just gotten out of bed. Maybe you're watching this after a full long day of work. There's so many different options. For me today, my alarm woke me up in the middle of a very intense dream. So honestly, I'm not quite here yet. So I still feel that kind of otherworldly quality. So I'm bringing that to today's session. And whatever it is that you're experiencing, acknowledge it, sense it, don't try to push it away. Basically say a friendly hello to it. And little by little start to allow a shift into preparing for what we're going to do. So it's like a gentle fade into now, bringing whatever we're coming with to the table, but letting it soften into the background. So what are we bringing into the now? What we're bringing into the now is how we sense the ground. Right now I'm kneeling. That's my best camera angle. So I'm sensing through the tops of my shins and the tops of my feet, my connection into the ground. If you're sitting, it's going to be the soles of your feet, bringing awareness to them, and your sit bones. If you're standing, it's the soles of your feet. And if you're lying down, it's that generous expanse of all the spots of the back of your body that are connecting to the earth. And out of that, whatever part of you is pointing towards the sky, allow that part to elongate upwards so that you have a gentle length through your spine. If you're standing up, you're also going to feel that through your hips. If you're lying down, it's the expanse of the front of your body that's touching the air, that's pointing towards the ceiling or the sky. So we want to have this sense of being in the here and now. What's rooting us? And how are we gently drawn upwards? So there's an elongation process and a sense of orienting ourselves in the now. And in addition to this, we want to bring ourselves into our breath as it is right now. You can bring your hands to your belly, or just your mind and awareness to your abdomen and belly. And notice how the breath wants to move through you right now. We're not changing anything. We're heightening our awareness technology, our inner awareness technology. How do we feel the ground? How do we feel the sky? How do we sense our breath? And now notice where this has brought you. How does this make you feel? Is something a little bit different? And now we want to bring with us a little bit of enthusiasm, curiosity, and wonder about what we're going to do next. So that attitude is going to be our sauce that we enjoy our movement medicine morsel with. I'm going to come to standing. You can choose whatever your position is, your best position here. And once again, if we've shifted position, we want to reestablish how do we feel the ground? How do we feel the sky? How do we feel them both in harmony? And what kind of curiosity? That will bring a little smile, enthusiasm, and we're going to bring our breath. So let's begin our shaking. And that can be as simple as shaking the fingers. If shaking is not at all comfortable for you at this moment, just imagine a little vibration. Visualize or sense yourself doing this, or just enjoy breathing and connecting to the here and now. And if you are enjoying shaking, let's see how many parts of our body want to shake and enjoy shaking. So if you're starting with the fingers, maybe the wrists, what about those elbows? Maybe the armpits, the chest. How about the neck? A little bit of bobblehead. Now I know a lot of us have neck issues, so it doesn't have to move, but let there be freedom. We want to, the main thing about shaking is to release any holding patterns. So if you're protecting your neck by holding it stiff, see if there's a way that you can release that holding and allow the freedom for your neck to simply be. And I think you've got enough instructions of what to do. Basically follow ease and pleasure and comfort for yourself. And what does that mean today? Because that might be at this moment slightly or vastly different from what it might be at any other time. And give yourself permission to try everything. How do your feet and ankles want to move? Maybe you want to hold on to something and you want to shake that leg. Or one of my personal favorites is leaving the toes on the ground and the back leg is just a little bit out on a back diagonal and just shaking that knee forward and back. This gives me a nice shake all the way from the rib cage down to the foot, gets the jelly moving. It's a great vibration, great vibration. And you can even lift up your arms if that's comfortable for you to get more of a cascade. And give yourself some good, smooth, deep breathing. And always feel free to allow sound to come through you. One of the underlying principles is to allow any authentic movement or sound to be free. So if you did do some of that shaking on that one leg, see how that feels. Is it different on one side to the other? What is it like to walk around a little bit? And let's do the same or similar on the other side. So slightly diagonally behind. It doesn't work in front. It just doesn't because too much hip flexion. We're giving a little medicine for that constant hip flexion of sitting, driving, walking. So here's a little bit of gentle extension, but it's quite loosey-goosey. Loosey-goosey. So the slow motion is the knee comes forward and back, and you let the rest of your body accompany the movement, participate, and then little by little you can speed that up. Now it's important not to let the earth energy take over here. You want to keep that suspension so that you're high above the action happening below. And there's this lovely shimmering, shaking, and you can add sound, you can add lifting your arms if you like that. And make sure you add breath, and any sound that authentically wants to come. So you can tell I really like that. You can let me know in the comments box if you like that too. I find that really, really freeing, actually all the way from the rib cage down, which for any of you fellow anatomy nerds out there, the psoas muscle starts behind the organs at this level, the base of the rib cage, sweeps down behind the organs and inside the pelvis and then joins to the thigh. So this is a fantastic release for the psoas. Most of us have a very tight psoas muscle, and if we do lots of lunges thinking that we're stretching it, we might just be tightening it up. So this is truly a psoas release. Plus, you've just had your first lesson in belly dancing if you've never done it before. All right, so that's the shaking. Woo. And think of birds and cats and dogs, how they do that little woo. They just shake themselves out. We can learn a great deal from our animal friends. And bring yourself back to gently to your vertical alignment. And we're going to do a little bit of tapping. We're going to tap with loose, soft wrists on our upper chest. And this is considered in Qigong energy boost and immune system boost, because our thymus gland that sits on top of the heart is responsible for a lot of our T blood cells, our immune boost cells. So if we add the mental energy of, I have a strong immune system, I am healthy, I am whole, or just a big smile and feeling yourself in your beautiful vertical alignment, you can be tapping, waking up, and also reinforcing your immune boost internally and cheering on those systems that are working constantly within our bodies that we usually forget about, we're not conscious of. So thank you, thymus. And thank you, lungs. Loving those lungs. Giving some percussion to the lungs, which also helps relieve any stale, stuck energy. And let that be. And take a breath and see if your upper chest is more open. Maybe you have a new appreciation for your own immune system. That's a good thing too. And we're going to tap with one hand over the shoulder into the neck, and the other hand floats out and just love pats all the way down your arm. Good morning or hello or whatever time of day it is. You're basically saying, I love you, and acknowledging every part of your body. Coming to clapping, and then making your way up the same arm but on the inside, and coming into the armpit. You can rest your hand on your shoulder or drape it over your head, and a little bit up and down into the side of the chest. All of this, of course, can be done visualizing and not moving. Very powerful, good concentration exercise. And see how that feels. See how that amount of tapping feels. And then the other side, cupping over the chest, into the neck and the shoulder, and then coming down the outside of the arm with love, with appreciation, noticing and feeling each tap. So we're not distracted by that other heady world, but we're really seeing, touching, and feeling. Clapping, and then coming up the inside of the arm with feeling into the armpit. You can drape the hand, you can have it lower, but we're tapping into the armpit, and we're just appreciating this magnificent body that we have. We're not escaping from it. We're not only living in the beautiful mental palace. We're coming back into the palace of our whole body. And then let that be. And now tapping all over through the throat. It's nice to hum when you tap the throat because it helps to release any stagnation in our self-expression, in our neck. Maybe you have phlegm or you experience that. So we're giving ourselves barefoot ultrasound. So natural grassroots ultrasound, see how that feels. And now lovingly tapping your face. I know we all wash our face and sometimes we put on cream or moisturizer, but are you doing it with awareness or are you just kind of pulling things around? Let's tap our face with such reverence. You're tapping the face of the beloved, and the beloved is you. And coming up the temples, if you've got glasses on, just take them off for a moment and tap the sides of your nose, fluff up the apples of your cheeks, and keep feeling that this is the face of your beloved. How would you most lovingly touch your beloved? And the beloved is you. Temples, anytime you need a rest, just shake out. And lovingly patting the forehead. If you tend to furrow, maybe you're brushing open. And lovingly tapping all over the scalp, even tapping over the ears, just not on the ear hole itself, that'll be a bit deafening, and tapping up at the base of the skull, And when you feel complete with this, just shake that out, shake that out. Notice how you're feeling and lift your beautiful, refreshed face and look around. How light do you feel through the neck? What do you see? And let's now move into cupping the chest. Cupping around the organs, and here you can smile into all of those beautiful internal organs. Thank you for all that behind the scenes work you do. And coming into the sides of the waist and even the back of the waist, and loving the kidneys and the adrenals. And maybe you prefer to massage them instead of tapping, or maybe you want to do a little bit of each. And we're going to finish today by tapping down the outsides of the legs and coming back up the insides. So if you're standing, you can add a little bit of a shimmy and a shake if you like that, or you can do what I call doubles, where you're doing a bit of bouncing. See how this is one movement, like a bouncing ball? You're giving a light thump with the hands and bouncing the knees. The shimmy and shake is essentially one and then the other, one and then the other. And you can pick or move between them, but the main thing is sending love into the hips, cupping your way down. And we never go further than is comfortable, so you can say, this is as far as my back allows me to go today, and that's the honest truth. I will keep on cupping, and then imagine that I am cupping my way down the outsides of the lower legs. And if you've never done this before, I can feel it down in my ankles. I've had a bit of practice, but you may be better at it than me and can get it right off the bat. But it's real. If you can't touch a place with your body, you can still touch it with your mind and add your breath and your goodwill. Bingo, you're golden. Now, if you can make it all the way down to the outsides of your ankles, do so, or do it imaginally. Coming over the tops of the feet and the toes. Maybe you want to close your eyes. I can even feel the air waves, the breeze that I'm making, and I can sense, the tops of my toes tingling. And now coming along the inside of the arches, and then up the insides of the ankles. And of course, if you can reach those places, you can be doing it that way, but I just want to really reinforce the magnificence of the visualization. You could be doing this whole lesson lying on your back, mentally sensing it, and it will be just as powerful, sometimes in some cases even more. And coming up the insides of the legs, and you can add the actual contact if you want. And we're paddling up, we're waking up and loving the insides of our thighs. We're coming into the perineal region and giving some loving cupping into the bottom of the pelvic floor. This gives ultrasound into the pelvis itself. And then we're coming into the groin area, and maybe we want to lightly reach the groins forward. And then coming into neutral as we begin to slow down. Maybe you were doing the doubles, maybe that's your favorite. And when it feels like a natural slowing down, just let your hands rest where they want to. Notice your breath. Can you breathe? Can you direct your breath into your perineum? That's a fun project. And just be relaxed. Don't strain in any way. Use any of these suggestions as little creative prompts. And you want to play with them as long as they're interesting to you. If they're not interesting to you, go to something that is interesting to you. Because the enthusiasm and the curiosity that come with what interests us are incredible. That's an incredible vehicle for learning. Boredom or obligation really do not support learning. They do not support true learning. So ease, comfort, maybe you want to step the feet a little closer together or lie down or sit down. And let's finish today by simply folding the hands so the web between the thumb and the index finger slot together. And your vertical alignment, bring yourself to feel your feet or whatever part of you is touching the ground, or a chair or floor. And then lightly rising through the crown of the head in a way that elongates your entire spine. Connect with your breath. And notice how you're feeling now. What's your self-image now? What's your awareness of your whole self now? I've got to say that this was what I needed to bring myself fully out of the sleeping dream state and into the waking state. I feel more bright, energized, a little bit of vibration through my body, and I feel more connected and more present. So I usually don't tell you what I'm feeling because I want you to find out for yourself without being colored by any sense of authority figure. But I just wanted to share that today, just for today. And I want you to look inside yourself, and is there something for you that feels different or refreshed? Or maybe there's not, and feel no guilt. Whatever is your authentic response and sense, how can that be anything but the highest truth? So if you feel like dropping something into the chat box or comment box, I do love to hear from you and know if these things are connecting with you in any meaningful way, and sending you lots of love. That brings us to the end of today. Feel free to watch this again. Feel free to share it with friends. And this, of course, is part of a little COVID love project of mine. It's been going on for over a year. Little episodes to help us feel a bit more whole, feel more ease, and have more hope and inspiration inside to face an ongoing challenge. So let's face it together with elegance, curiosity, and keep on growing. Bye for now. See you next time.